What if I told you the most dominant faction of the modern wrestling era is closer to being a memory than a moment waiting to happen? Because the three men who once tore through WWE like a riot squad aren't just separated by contracts anymore. They're separated by reality. And Seth Rollins just said the quiet part out loud. For over a decade, three words have lived rent-free in wrestling fans' minds. The Shield, not just a faction, a movement, a warning, a statement that the future had arrived. Welcome back, Wrestling News, WWE. And it was merciless. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, later known to the world as Jon Moxley. Three wildly different personalities unified by chaos, precision, and a hunger that felt real in an era where so much felt manufactured. And now in 2026, fans are still asking the same question. Will the Shield ever reunite? Seth Rollins didn't just answer that question. He shut the door slowly, calmly, and with brutal honesty. Before we get to what Rollins said, you need to remember why this even matters. Because the Shield wasn't just popular. They changed the ecosystem. They debuted at a time when WWE was stuck in a loop. New heels would rise, look promising, then get fed to the machine. John Cena beats them, rinse, repeat. The Shield broke that pattern. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't wait their turn. They forced the system to react to them. They were the antidote to predictability. Tactical, violent, focused. Every entrance felt like a threat. Every match felt like a takeover. And the scariest part was how believable it all felt. These weren't characters pretending to be dangerous. They felt dangerous. That's why fans never stopped believing in a reunion. Even after betrayal, even after breakups, even after careers went in completely different directions. Because in wrestling, history has taught us that time heals everything. Or at least business does. But Seth Rollins just reminded everyone that sometimes it doesn't. In a promotional video, tied to the new season of WWE Unreal on Netflix, Rollins was asked about the possibility of the Shield coming together again. And instead of playing the nostalgia card, instead of teasing fans, instead of giving the usual wrestling answer, Rollins chose truth. Not a lot of love lost between myself and Roman Reigns. That's the line that should have stopped you in your tracks, because that's not storyline language. That's not Cabe. That's not hype. That's a man acknowledging real distance, real tension, real separation. And then he went even further. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, not currently with the company. Don't know if he's ever coming back. Think about how heavy that sentence is. 1/3 of the Shield isn't just gone. He's built an entirely new kingdom elsewhere. Jon Moxley didn't leave WWE quietly. He left loudly. He left violently. He left with a mission to prove that his identity wasn't confined to one system. And in awe, he did exactly that. Moxley didn't just reinvent himself. He reminded the industry what raw intensity looks like when it's unfiltered. Blood, grit, vulnerability, leadership. He became the backbone of another company. Not a visitor, not a guest pillar. So when Rollins says he doesn't know if Moxley is ever coming back, that's not speculation. That's realism. That's acknowledging that the man once known as Dean Ambrose found something he may never be willing to give up. And then came the verdict. I would say chances are very slim. Not dramatic, not cruel, just final. For years, fans believed that the Shield reunion was inevitable. Survivor Series, WrestleMania, a one-night-only deal, a massive pop, a nostalgia run. But Rollins just reframed the conversation. This isn't about timing. It's about alignment. And alignment no longer exists. Roman Reigns is no longer just a wrestler. He's an institution. The tribal chief era didn't just elevate Roman. It redefined power dynamics in WWE. He's the centerpiece of long-term storytelling, the head of the table, the final boss. His character thrives on dominance and control. A Shield reunion doesn't enhance that. It dilutes it. Seth Rollins, on the other hand, is chaos with purpose. Visionary, revolutionary, a man who reinvents himself whenever the industry thinks it has him figured out. His success comes from evolution, not regression. Looking backward doesn't serve his character or his mindset. And Jon Moxley, he's fighting a different war entirely. His world is built on freedom, violence, and authenticity. He's not chasing WWE moments. He's creating his own legacy on his own terms. So where does that leave the Shield? In memory, in highlights, and echoes, Rollins did leave a tiny crack in the door. And this is where the curiosity hits. He mentioned the Hall of Fame not as a promise, not even as a plan, but as a theoretical moment where paths might cross. A Hall of Fame induction is different. It's not about storylines. It's not about wins and losses. It's about legacy. And if there is ever a setting where egos soften and business walls come down, it's there. But Rollins immediately undercut even that hope. He called it a real slim chance. Then joked that Kurt Angle might have a better shot. Humor, yes, but also deflection. The kind of humor you use when you don't want to leave the door open. That's what hurt fans the most. Not the answer, the tone. There was no tease, no wink, no maybe, just acceptance. And that forces us to confront something wrestling fans hate. Admitting some chapters are over. The Shield's power came from its moment in time. The industry, the roster, the audience, the hunger. You can't recreate that. And forcing it could actually damage the legacy instead of honoring it. We've seen reunions fail before. Factions return slower, less hungry, more cautious. Nostalgia doesn't always translate to magic. Sometimes it exposes how much time has passed. And maybe Seth Rollins understands that better than anyone. Maybe protecting the Shields. Legacy means never letting it become a parody of itself. That doesn't make it easier to accept. Because every time that siren hits, every time those words echo, Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, fans feel something primal, something electric, something rare. But maybe that feeling exists because it's gone. So here's the real question. Would you rather see the Shield reunite for one night and risk it falling short, or let it live forever as one of the most perfect, untouchable factions in wrestling history? That's not a rhetorical question. That's the debate Seth Rollins just reignited. And as wrestling evolves, maybe the most powerful thing a legend can do is know when to stay legendary. So I want to hear from you. If the Shield never reunites again, does that protect their legacy or rob fans of closure? Drop your take in the comments and let Pink Sport know where you stand. Because some stories don't need an ending. They just need to be remembered.